Why did nobody see it coming? That's the question people ask after a heart attack. Quietly, usually late at night. Because what terrifies most adults over 60 is not pain. It's the idea that something deadly could already be happening inside their body, while every normal day keeps looking normal. And here's the uncomfortable truth. In many cases, the body does send warnings, not always dramatic ones, not movie scene chest clutching. Sometimes the signals are subtle, strange, easy to explain away. A little exhaustion, a different kind of sleep problem, mild pressure in the jaw, feeling off for weeks. Then suddenly it's an emergency. I'm Dr. Harris. I've spent years reviewing cardiovascular research and listening to what patients say before and after cardiac events. And one thing keeps bothering me. Many people over 60 were having symptoms nearly a month before their heart attack, but nobody connected the dots in time, especially women, especially older adults with diabetes, and especially people who thought they were just getting older. Stay with me because one sign we're going to discuss is often mistaken for simple indigestion, and another shows up while you're asleep, when you don't even realize your body is struggling. Margaret, a 71-year-old retired librarian from Ohio, told her daughter she felt weirdly tired for almost 3 weeks before her heart attack. Not sleepy, not lazy, tired in a way she couldn't explain. This was a woman who walked 2 miles every morning, organized community book drives, and remembered everyone's birthday. Suddenly, carrying groceries from the car felt like climbing a hill with ankle weights. She started sitting down halfway through folding laundry. She canceled lunch plans because getting dressed felt exhausting. Her blood work looked mostly normal. Her blood pressure wasn't alarming, so she ignored it. Then one morning, while watering her plants, she felt pressure in her chest and collapsed onto the patio. Here's what many people don't realize. Before a heart attack, the heart often struggles gradually before it fails dramatically. Think of your heart like a pump, trying to push water through partially clogged pipes. At first, the pump compensates. It works harder. But over time, less oxygen reaches muscles and organs. The result isn't always pain. Sometimes it's depletion, a deep depletion. Research published in the journal Circulation found that unusual fatigue was one of the most commonly reported symptoms in women in the weeks before a heart attack. Not during, before. And this is where people get trapped by a dangerous assumption. They think, I'm over 60, of course I'm tired. Sounds reasonable, sounds harmless. Here's the problem. Normal aging doesn't usually create sudden changes in stamina over 2 to 4 weeks. That pattern matters. Let me say that again. A gradual but noticeable drop in your normal energy level over a short period of time is not something to casually dismiss. The surprising part is this. Fatigue connected to heart trouble often appears before chest pain ever does, especially in women and adults with diabetes. Their bodies may never produce the classic Hollywood symptoms people expect. What should you do instead? Pay attention to changes, not just symptoms. Ask yourself, can I do the same daily activities I could do a month ago without feeling drained? If the answer is no, don't just request standard blood work. Ask specifically for a cardiac evaluation that includes an EKG and discussion about stress testing if appropriate. And I want you to notice something else. Your body compares you to your own baseline, not to someone your age. That distinction matters. Before I continue, I'm curious about something. On a scale from 1 to 10, how different is your energy level today compared to 5 years ago? Not worse because of aging alone. Truly different. Type the number you keep thinking about. Here's another warning sign people almost never connect to the heart. What if the problem isn't in your chest at all? Thomas was 66, a former high school football coach from Kentucky with a loud laugh and terrible patience in traffic. For nearly a month before his heart attack, he kept complaining about pain in his jaw and upper back. His dentist thought it might be nighttime grinding. His wife assumed it was arthritis. Thomas blamed old football injuries, but the pain kept appearing during ordinary activities, walking uphill, carrying mulch bags, even after big meals. Then one evening, he developed nausea and sweating while watching television. His artery was nearly blocked. Here's why this happens. The heart and surrounding nerves share communication pathways with other areas of the body. The brain isn't always great at identifying exactly where danger signals originate. So, instead of sharp chest pain, Some people experience what's called referred pain, discomfort that shows up in the jaw, neck, shoulder, arm, upper back, or even teeth. And older adults are especially vulnerable to missing this pattern because the symptoms can feel mechanical instead of cardiac. Muscle strain, bad posture, a pinched nerve, except the timing tells the real story. Pain linked to the heart often appears during exertion or emotional stress and eases with rest. That rhythm matters more than the location itself. A 2020 review in JAMA Cardiology noted that many patients who later suffered cardiac events reported intermittent, non classic discomfort for days or weeks beforehand, particularly in the upper body. The surprising part? Women are significantly more likely than men to experience these atypical symptoms. Some never develop severe chest pain at all. And honestly, this frustrates me because too many adults are told they're anxious, stressed, or overreacting when their body is trying to warn them. Not every ache is your heart, of course not. But recurring discomfort tied to physical activity deserves attention. What should you do? Start tracking patterns, specific patterns. Write down when the discomfort happens, what you were doing, how long it lasts, and whether rest improves it. Then bring that information to your physician and ask one direct question. Could this be exertional angina? That phrase matters because it shifts the conversation toward blood flow to the heart instead of just muscle pain. And if you've ever had discomfort in your jaw, shoulder, or upper back that strangely appeared during activity, tell me where it showed up. People are often shocked to learn how common this really is. In a quiet sleep lab in Minnesota, researchers noticed something strange. Many adults who later developed serious heart problems had experienced worsening sleep disturbances beforehand, not just insomnia. Their bodies were waking them repeatedly because oxygen levels and stress hormones were fluctuating during the night. Sandra, a 73-year-old widow who loved gardening at sunrise, started waking up around 3 a.m. drenched in sweat. Not every night, just enough to make her uneasy. She also noticed she needed two pillows instead of one because lying flat made her feel uncomfortable. Not painful, just wrong. 3 weeks later, she experienced shortness of breath while climbing stairs and ended up in the emergency room with severe coronary artery disease. The heart and lungs work as partners. When the heart struggles to pump efficiently, fluid can subtly back up into the lungs, especially when lying down. That can create nighttime coughing, breathlessness, restlessness, or sudden waking episodes. And then there's sleep apnea, a major but underdiagnosed cardiac risk factor in adults over 60. During apnea episodes, breathing repeatedly stops and starts, placing enormous stress on the cardiovascular system. Blood pressure spikes, oxygen drops, stress hormones surge, night after night after night. It's like revving your car engine repeatedly while it's parked in the garage. A 2019 study from the American Heart Association found strong links between untreated sleep apnea and increased risk of heart attack, arrhythmias, and stroke. The surprising part is this. Many people don't realize they have sleep apnea because they're asleep when it happens. Their partner notices first, or nobody notices at all, and symptoms don't always look dramatic. Morning headaches, dry mouth, needing naps constantly, waking up exhausted after a full night in bed. Very subtle, very dangerous. Here's what to do instead. If you snore heavily, wake up gasping, feel unusually exhausted during the day, or suddenly need extra pillows to sleep comfortably, ask about a sleep study. Specifically, a home sleep apnea test if you want a simpler starting point. Those tests have become far more accessible in recent years. And I want to ask something different here. Has anyone ever told you that you stop breathing in your sleep? Even once? Because people often brush that off for years. I need to confess something. One of the hardest conversations I have is with people who thought their heartburn was just heartburn. David, a 69-year-old grandfather from Arizona, loved spicy food and black coffee. For weeks before his heart attack, he felt pressure after meals, burning in the center of his chest, sometimes nausea, sometimes burping. So he bought antacids, and for a while they seemed to help. That's what makes this so dangerous. Heart-related discomfort can mimic indigestion because the nerves involved overlap in confusing ways, especially when reduced blood flow affects the lower portion of the heart near the diaphragm. People describe it differently. Tightness, fullness, pressure, burning, a heavy feeling. not stabbing pain. And here's where the misunderstanding becomes deadly. If symptoms improve slightly with rest or time, people assume the danger has passed. But unstable plaque inside coronary arteries can temporarily restrict blood flow before fully rupturing later. Think of a damaged water pipe bulging before it bursts. The warning stage matters. Researchers from the Cleveland Clinic found that many heart attack patients reported gastrointestinal like symptoms in the days or weeks beforehand, particularly older adults and women. The surprising part? True cardiac symptoms are often triggered by exertion, even when they feel digestive. Walking after meals, climbing stairs, emotional stress, that connection is the clue. And if symptoms repeatedly appear during physical activity, but not while sitting quietly, your body may be telling you something important. So, what should you do? First, stop trying to self diagnose based on where discomfort appears. Instead, focus on patterns and triggers. Second, if chest pressure, burning, nausea, or unexplained sweating occur with activity, ask whether you need cardiac enzyme testing, stress imaging, or coronary calcium scoring depending on your risk profile. And that word bottom pressure matters more than people realize. Many cardiac patients never describe sharp pain at all. Quick question for you. What symptom on this list surprised you the most so far? Fatigue, jaw pain, sleep problems, or indigestion like symptoms? I read those responses carefully because it tells me what information people were never given. There's one final warning sign that people consistently underestimate. It's not pain, it's breath. Elaine was 74 and proud of the fact that she still cleaned her own house. One afternoon, she noticed she needed to stop halfway up the stairs. Not because of leg pain, because she felt strangely winded. A week later, she became short of breath while talking on the phone. No crushing chest pain, no dramatic emergency. Just breathing that gradually became harder. The heart's job is to deliver oxygen-rich blood efficiently. When coronary arteries narrow or the heart weakens, oxygen delivery falls behind demand. Your lungs respond by making you breathe harder, even during ordinary activities. And adults over 60 often mistake this for aging, being out of shape or gaining weight. But there's a difference between normal aging and a clear decline in breathing capacity over a short period of time. A very important difference. Shortness of breath related to the heart often appears during activities that previously felt easy. Walking the mailbox route, carrying groceries, showering, making the bed. Then it progresses. The American College of Cardiology warns that unexplained exertional breathlessness can be an early sign of coronary artery disease or heart failure, even in the absence of chest pain. Here's the part most people have never heard. Some heart attacks are silent, meaning the artery blockage progresses with minimal classic symptoms until significant damage has already occurred. This is especially common in adults with diabetes because nerve damage can blunt pain signals, so the body whispers instead of screams. What should you do? Perform a simple comparison test this week. Pick one normal physical activity you do regularly, walking a familiar route, climbing stairs, carrying laundry, and honestly evaluate whether it feels harder than it did 3 months ago. Not emotionally harder, physically harder. If the answer is yes, document it. Then discuss it with a physician in concrete terms, not "I'm getting older." Say, "My exertional tolerance has declined noticeably over the past several weeks." That wording matters because symptoms become easier to dismiss when they sound vague. Here's the bigger picture. I hope you remember after all this, most heart attacks are not random lightning strikes out of nowhere. The body often sends quieter signals first. Changes in stamina, breathing, sleep, pressure, discomfort, recovery. Signals that seem unrelated until you finally see the pattern connecting them. And the goal is not fear, it's earlier recognition. This week, do one thing that costs nothing. Write down one physical change your body has developed in the past 6 months that you've been dismissing as just aging. Look at it objectively. Patterns become clearer when they're written down instead of buried in routine. And in the next video, I'm going to show you the everyday medications adults over 60 take that may quietly increase memory decline, falls, and confusion, including one that millions use every single night thinking it's harmless.